Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman back in the day.
Eason would get a tech.
Is it that much booze?
Rockets up a touchdown at halftime. Halfway through the fourth quarter now. Warriors are down by 4, but here comes Steph. He had a quiet night, McNutt, but he knocks that one down for 3.
I mean, we'll get into why they were able to survive despite a quiet night, but he hit shots when he needed to.
4 minutes to go in the fourth. Rockets by 1. Van Vliet, it's a 4-point Houston lead. Next Warriors possession, same score. Butler. For Draymond, a great pass.
All around.
Warriors down 2. Next Warrior possession, Buddy Hield. He has a green light all the time.
I mean, the others you hear Shaq talk about, Buddy Hield, Podziemski did a great job of showing up in this game.
So did Van Vliet. Down by 3. Not anymore. We're tied at 104. What a game. Minute left in the fourth. Same score. Look at the casual pass from Steph to Jimmy Butler. Now here's a big moment. That's a 3-point shot. And is fouled, or is he?
Come on, man. This is playoff basketball. That's not a foul.
McNutt, they would review it.
Not a foul.
Call
Stop.
stands.
Stop.
We don't like it?
I don't like it.
In Detroit, they're yelling, you call that?
Yeah.
Where's the thumb? Where's the thumb? Now, if the thumb is slightly over to the right, that may...
Butler makes all 3 free throws. 10 seconds left. Rockets down by 1. Look at this rebound from Jimmy Butler. Flying through the air with the greatest of ease. Makes both free throws. Warriors up by 3. 4 seconds left. Rockets, last chance. Van Vliet. Desperation. No good. Golden State holds on to take the win and the commanding 3-1 series lead afterwards. Jimmy with Allie LaForce.
I die for these guys, for real. It's so fun. I got my joy back, as some would say. But more than anything, it's always good to win. Let me go, man. Go back there. What are you going to do? Nothing on national TV.
Jimmy, what do we say? Listen, I mean, Jimmy Butler, he gets the injury, you miss a couple of games, you come back, and here he is. What do we say about Jimmy Butler on a night where Steph Curry made 6 shots from the floor?
He isn't just a star. He's the best technician teammate in the NBA, right? And when you think about him, it's just not about scoring. He orchestrates winning, and he impacts the game. Think about it. 75 touches last night, no turnovers. 12 free throw attempts, made every single one. In clutch time, he outscored Houston by himself 9-8, and he scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. He does all the small details a technician does, because details win you games.
I think we've seen that over the course of his career, including in Miami. But to combine that with Stephen Curry, with Draymond Green, guys that have been to the mountaintop and been successful multiple times, to me, for all of the things that Jay mentioned, he's also the reason why you're able to get 41 points or whatever it was between Buddy Hield and Brandon Podziemski, because of the way that he shifts defenses and his willingness to pass the rock. So this, look, I don't know that I saw this going this well when the trade went down. But he went on to say in that interview, this is the most confident bunch in the league, and they are playing like that.
What do they look like to you right now with Jimmy Butler playing like that?
Just champions. They're playing championship defense. He has an aura to him, and they feed off the aura. All the teammates, all the guys around in the locker room, they believe in each other. Jimmy brings that belief into that locker room.
It's a small moment. It isn't a small moment. It's a huge moment in the game, but it's one particular moment. But that defensive rebound, I tried to really emphasize that. I mean, that's an extraordinary rebound in a critical moment of the game right here, just flying.
By the way, Steven Adams is just carving out a player, and he goes over the top of Steven Adams. That's why I said, look, the word that defines him to me is surgical, right? He's not explosive, but that's why I called him a technician. That's surgical. That's just going over the top, and that's a two-handed rebound, Booze.
I love that rebound.
Two-handed rebound. That's a grown man rebound.
I love that rebound, man. That's a game-winning rebound.
Literally.
27 points for Jimmy Butler last night. You mentioned it, 12 of 12 from the line. Monica, you mentioned it. Hield had 15. Podziemski had 26 huge points, including 6 threes. So on a night where, again, Steph Curry, by his standards, ridiculously quiet, again, by his ridiculously high standards, they still find a way to win and put a stranglehold on the series.
It's just, look, we're going to watch the Lakers tomorrow night, and when I watch Luka's special. But, like, when I watch Jimmy Butler, the way he moves without the basketball, just like those basketball cuts, like he has a nose for it. You feel some of those differences with watching Jimmy and the way that his game fits into how Golden State plays.
Well, I want to say this, too. Draymond Green, 5 personal fouls, 1 flagrant, 1 technical, 1 game-winning stop.
Yeah, man.
That's Draymond Green.
They used to say they would call it a Gordie Howe hat trick. He had a goal, an assist, and a fight. And That's sort of filling up the stat sheet the way Draymond Green fills up the stat sheet.
But also, Monica, shout out to Steve Kerr, right? They went to a hack of Steven Adams strategy.
Yep.
And, like, you know, he had 5 blocks. Like, that got him out of the game. That changed the game.
At halftime, there's a little bit of eye rolling because it's like, all right, y'all, all this posturing, y'all not going to do nothing. What are we going to do? Are we going to play basketball? But I thought that second half, even though Houston comes out on the losing side of this, I thought that was a really well-played basketball game. You saw a young team that isn't afraid of the chippiness. They figured out how they could make the Warriors uncomfortable. The Warriors responded. But you could go down the box score when you talk about the Warriors in terms of guys being stars in their role, even post, right?
Yeah.
Being able to space the floor, hit some big threes for those guys. They are coming into form, and I think you see the urgency from their leadership in terms of the opportunity.
I have a question. Has anybody seen Jalen Green?
No.
I mean, and like, look, he isn't just in a slump. This, to me, feels like an identity crisis that young players go through. When you look at the fact, 2 points game 1, 7 points game 2, 38 points game 3, 9 points game 4, 8 points game 5. Like, just the fact that he didn't play the last 5 minutes of the game, that's Udoka saying, hey, look, we still need you to show up in the biggest moments for our team's second leading scorer.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the numbers.
It's tough. It's hard. It's a real thing.
Last night, yeah.
If you didn't add that he was his team's second leading scorer, you really could make an argument. And I do not mean this in a dismissive way because I don't think we appreciate role guys enough. But Jalen Green he's sort of a role guy, right? I don't know that you can bank on 20 evenly in a balanced performance. When you got him hot, you better roll with him, and when he's not so much, you got to make the adjustment.
So look, I'm not writing the Rockets off in this conversation. They're down 3-1. They still have 2 home games. It certainly feels like it's going.
Good morning, Jay.
What I mean by that is if we're going to start projecting ahead for this incredibly young Houston team that is well ahead of schedule, right? This was not a team we expected to be where they are as they are. They have an excellent coach. They have really good young players. They may be one piece. The point you're making is if they're depending on this much from the people they're depending it on, they're probably one piece away from having a real shot at the mountaintop.
Yeah, and the 2 seed is not a joke for them in terms of what they were able to do during the regular season. Right now, they run into a team with far more experience. And if they're not up by 10 with 60 seconds to go, then it seems like the Warriors are very much alive and have a chance.
Let me put A16 up if I can also, because, Booz, to illustrate your point, Draymond Green, like the way he fills up a stat sheet, the numbers may not jump off the page. But how about the defense he played on Şengün last night?
Outstanding.
Heavily contesting that potential game-winning shot with 6 seconds left, including that miss. Şengün was 3 of 12 when Draymond was on him, 9 of 16 against everybody else. You've had your share of banging around with him on the floor. What is it like being on the floor with Draymond Green?
This is what he revels in. He loves this matchup. He loves to be the guy that wants to shut down the other player. Like you saw him yelling at Reggie last night. He's not going to score on me. He takes this personal, and it was awesome to see that for him last night.
Also, Booz, he meets him so early physicality-wise in his play, right? Like, and a lot of times the bigs, they'll back their way down, and the other big defensively will let them get to operating spaces. Draymond Green did not let him get to a comfortable space to operate.
At all.
All right, so
I'm very surprised that the final play was just one-on-one, those two.
If you were trying to figure out who had the best night last night, there were a lot of different people to choose from. I think if you're trying to figure out who had the worst night last night, I think it was Pat Riley, who had to see Jimmy Butler be the reason his team wins, and then had to see his own team lose by 55. We were going to show you the highlight of this game.
Why?
And then we decided there's really not any reason to.
It was ugly.
It was so bad.
It was so bad.
The Cavaliers beat them by 55 last night. They outscored Miami by 122 points in this series. So that's an average of over 30 points a game, which is the largest point differential in a single series in NBA playoff history, and by far the biggest point differential in a 4-game sweep. 21